What are the plans for the Utah Jazz going forward? Every season since Donovan Mitchell was drafted, the Utah Jazz have been a playoff team in the tough Western Conference. He wasn't your typical rookie, though. He came into the league averaging over 20 points per game and 4 rebounds with 4 assists on a winning team in the Western Conference, alongside the Defensive Player of the Year in Rudy Gobert. I'm sure we all remember the Rookie of the Year debate between him and Ben Simmons. And in the 2019 playoffs, we saw rookie Donovan Mitchell outplay the MVP from the year before in Russell Westbrook with Paul George and Carmelo Anthony. 3 future Hall of Famers outplayed and beaten by a rookie. The Jazz would then go on to lose in 5 to the Rockets, but they had to be feeling good about even coming this far with a rookie as their best player. Having someone that good and that young in their first season definitely gave Utah a lot of hope going forward. Which takes us to today. Donovan Mitchell is averaging 24, 4, and 4, still alongside Rudy Gobert. The Utah Jazz are taking on the Denver Nuggets in round 1 of the NBA playoffs right now. Most people have the Denver Nuggets taking this one pretty easily. Now, I disagree. I think it would be a drawn-out series, but the Utah Jazz aren't even close to really being a real contender. Mitchell dropped 57 in Game 1, but they lost. He then dropped 30 points and 8 assists in Game 2, and they took a blowout victory. Now, this is a good team, and they're even better at full strength. Conley should be coming back soon, but unfortunately, they will be without Bogdanovich for the whole playoffs. But this takes me to my problem with this team. Although they're a good team, they aren't built to last for years with the way they're currently constructed. They don't have enough talent to win a championship right now, even remotely, and they don't have enough young talent to really build for a championship going forward. Not enough pieces around Donovan Mitchell to actually have a promising future. Kind of just coasting until their roster is too old to actually compete for anything. Rudy Gobert is 28, not old but probably not getting much better. Bogdanovich is 31, Joe Ingles is 32, Conley's 32, Jordan Clarkson is a great punch off the bench for them when they need it, but he's already 28 years old. Donovan Mitchell is 23, and once he hits his prime, this whole roster, or at least his most important players, will be too old, and most of them probably won't be on the team anymore. Spider is the only young talent, and we know how good he is, but Utah needs to put him in a position to win or at least make progress towards winning big as soon as possible. New Orleans has Zion and Ingram, Boston has Brown and Tatum. Look at Dallas right now in the playoffs versus the Clippers with Porzingis and Doncic. We know how bright their future is. Cat D'Lo in this year's first-round pick in Minnesota, and we saw Phoenix's young talent thrive in the bubble, going 8-0. For young talent, the Jazz have Donovan Mitchell, and that's it, who is one of the best young players in the league, but he is their only young player. Going forward, the Utah Jazz main concern needs to be acquiring more young talent with promise or an already established player who could take them over the top and put them in title contention. It's going to be tough and probably won't happen through free agency, due to the fact that Utah is not known as a great free agent attraction at all. They don't have enough young pieces with value to trade for anyone, so maybe their best bet is praying they get lucky in the draft. It's looking like their best bet is to look into trading 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert. You're obviously not going to trade Donovan Mitchell. Rudy is their second best player and probably the best rim protector in the NBA, but he's the piece with the most value on the team, of course, outside of Donovan Mitchell, because he's there to stay. I like Mitchell, but what are the plans for the Utah Jazz going forward? Is Donovan Mitchell good enough to be the guy for Utah for the rest of his career? I like Donovan Mitchell, one of the best young players in the league. Just dropped his second 50-point game in the series versus the Nuggets as the Jazz go up 3-1 and are ready to pull off the upset. His biggest strength is, of course, his scoring ability. His handle, his ability to score on all 3 levels, and he definitely isn't scared of the big moment. He's going to have the ball in his hands in the late game for the Utah Jazz. They trust him to take him to the promised land at the end of games. The way we saw him do it in Game 1, trading buckets with Jamal Murray, where Mitchell dropped 57 points, third most all time for a player in a playoff game. Kobe, LeBron, KD, or any other player has not had this many points in a playoff game. The only 2 to have more are Elgin Baylor and Michael Jordan. Now, as great as Mitchell is, he is not a flawless player. The biggest criticism for him has been his playmaking or lack of playmaking, at least consistent playmaking. It's not quite as good as you would want it to be for a 6'1" shooting guard who, in this day and age, would probably be playing a lot of point guard for the Jazz, considering his size and his age of positionless basketball. The Jazz should continue to run him at point guard, not at full time, that's where you got Conley, but in stretches, so for points in games, he is forced to make plays for everyone, not just for himself. The key to really taking that next step for Mitchell is becoming a more consistent playmaker at a more elite level. He can already score the ball, but being able to make plays for teammates consistently will really bring him and the Jazz to that next level. Now keep in mind, this guy's only in his 3rd season, so he has a lot of time to become a more consistent, all-around offensive superstar. But as good as Mitchell is, even when he hits his prime, he can't do all of this by himself. That it being win a championship, which would be the ultimate goal for any NBA player or franchise. We'll have to wait some years to set Donovan Mitchell at his absolute best, and we'll need some guys around him, maybe even someone better than him, depending how good he is, to help him and the Jazz win a championship. In this league, you need multiple stars to compete for a chip, and with how Utah's roster is right now, they may need to look into trading Rudy Gobert to acquire some more young talent, or trust they can get a big-time free agent to come to Utah right now, or somewhere down the line to take him over the top. Utah has a good team right now, but with the talent like Mitchell, they must have a plan for the future. I like the Jazz team right now, and Conley's return to the playoffs, he's been lighting it up from 3. Clarkson has been great for them when they need a bucket, coming from somewhere other than Donovan Mitchell. Gobert is their defensive backbone, proven by his 2 Defensive Player of the Year trophies. Now I like this team even more with Bogdanovich in the lineup, but they will be without him until next season. And although this is a good NBA team, they're very far away from a championship level team, with the 3rd-year player leading them right now. But in the future, the Jazz will go as Donovan Mitchell does, without any other young talent besides him. In conclusion, the Utah Jazz need a plan going forward. They have one of the best young players in the league in Donovan Mitchell, and they have a good team around him right now, as they're up 3-2 on the Denver Nuggets in a series where no one, or at least the majority of people, weren't expecting Utah to be leading this series. But here they are, ready to close it out. The Jazz are old, especially when comparing it to the timeline of their best player, Donovan Mitchell, who's only 23 years old. And they need to acquire some more young talent around him, or get another star to take them over the top to move them more towards championship contention. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Rashad with Hoops Times 2. Subscribe if you want NBA content like this. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Peace out.